Hello, how have you been? Walking and driving around and you see a car and increasingly more and more cars that have a color that makes you think, that's a little weird. I have, and it's gotten lodged into my brain because I recently bought a car and it looks like this. And I don't know precisely how to explain it except that it's like a car color that looks like clay? Question mark? And you're gonna follow me right now and we're gonna figure this out. So I don't know what's going on. I know that somebody does. There are people in the world who think all the time about car colors, right? It's probably very important to a fairly large number of people, both enthusiasts and who work for car companies. And so there's got to be a thing here. Something happened. And I'm convinced that there's something interesting here, not just with what happens to car colors, but what's happening inside of my brain when I look at them. But first, we have to figure out what's going on. So we're going to do that. Car color that looks like clay. Do you know what I'm talking about? This one, this one, this one, this one. The car color is like that. Mine's like a light blue, and it's still, but it looks different, right? What's going on? Oh, this growing trend of body colors. Yeah, exactly. That. Even kind of, yeah, for sure that. And also somewhat that. Though interestingly, I think they get less weird in certain colors. The quality of this color doesn't look strange to me in yellow. It doesn't look strange to me in white or black, of course. It is the same though. Like a white car feels like this, but it doesn't feel weird. But this feels on the edge of weird, and this feels entirely weird. Like something about this makes me feel like I can like take my hand and like put it into the car and then lift out the car and then make a small man with it. It's shiny. It's not matte. That's different, but it's not something. So what is it? It's called gloss. Just basic gloss colors. The next comment, no metallic flake. So it's just basic gloss colors with no metallic flake, no pearl, no nothing. What is metallic flake? Metallic paint, which is also called metal flake or polychromatic, that's not the same, is the type of paint that's most common on new automobiles, but also used for other purposes. I posted this a few weeks ago. The growing trend of flat gray cars started with Nardo Gray by Audi. All right, should have gone to the second comment. This is 3 years ago, by the way. Nardo Gray. Audi's classic gray color. Nardo, love that. This is also that. And then this, but this isn't. This is not, this is regular. Whatever's going on with that car is not going on with Nardo. They called it Nardo. That's not my fault. What we're saying here is that this all started with Nardo. So we're gonna call these colors Nardos, and that's on them. They did that. But just like show me a car. Like show me Honda Civics. That's Nards. This one's Nards, but this one's not Nards. And this one is red, and red can't be Nards. I don't know why, but red can't be Nards. Now red can have flake in it. Like, so this obviously has flake. This is like shiny and it looks fancy. This is on the edge of Nards. This is Nards. Is it Nards? Or is that not Nards? Is this Nards? That's not Nards. Definitely not Nards. See, if that didn't have the flake in it, see, I'm using the terminology now. If that didn't have the sparklies, the literal glitter in it, it would look like Nardo, but it's not. Now, I'm not saying that that's the only thing. I'm looking at all these Honda Civics and there's a ton of Nards. It's happening everywhere. Half the 2023 colors are gonna be Nardy. Now that is regular. And I can't tell how I can tell. You know that thing where you're watching TV and they have, like at your in-laws' house, and they have motion smoothing turned on and it looks like a Spanish soap opera? And you can't tell why. Like, I can't tell why, but my brain is saying that's different. That's how I feel about this. Like, the difference is extraordinarily noticeable and I have a hard time articulating why. Like, what is actually happening. And okay, here we go. Maybe it's just because I've gotten so used to there being this like subtle sparkle in car paint that when it's not there, I'm like, what's happening? That's weird. That looks strange. It looks uncanny almost. Somebody's got to have written more about this. What if we type in, let's go deeper. Let's go Nardo Gray investigation. No, that's not gonna help me. Nardo Gray article. Well, now it's just about Nardo Gray. Clay car color. No, this is not helping me. Cars look like putty now. Oh, I did it! Cars look like putty now. All right, from Nissan to Porsche, this paint trend is taking over LA. Do we have a Nardo reference in here? Can we get oh, we do. This trend was kickstarted in 2013 with Audi in its debut of the car color Nardo Gray on its RS7, a powerful four-door coupe whose twin turbocharged V8. This feels like this is just search engine optimization now. Mark Donkey, he's Audi of America's director of communication, says it's the first solid gray on the market, referring to paint that lacks sparkle. It lacks sparkle. We're doing it. We're getting to the bottom of it. Let me just read this article. Early in this article is one of my favorite parts where it references a 2022 piece in a newsletter, and that's called What's up with all these putty-looking ass whips? So if we really want to track down the original reportage that put this together, it's from Blackbird Spyplane, and it's a Substack, and it's entitled "What's Up with All These Putty-Ass Looking Whips?" Wet putty whips are everywhere. What's behind it? A BBSP investigation. What's up with all these putty-looking ass whips, y'all? Now this is not a putty-ass looking whip. This is just a matte black wrap. And the vibe is like as if a computer render infiltrated the real world. That is how those look oftentimes. So look at all these putty ass whips. But this shit goes way beyond whips. Look, oh my God. We got putty ass looking Crocs. We got putty ass looking bottles. We got putty ass looking Keurig coffee makers. Oh, look at these putty ass looking whips. Is it possible for wet putty paint jobs to look sick? They gotta chill with these swag dampening grays. Extraordinary work to the people at Blackbird Spyplane here. I mean, LA Times, I'm sure you got a lot going on, but you did reference this early, and this scooped you. This newsletter for sure scooped you. We were eager to subject this shit to more than just brilliant spyplane speculation, so we asked illustrious automotive journalist and spy friend Hannah Elliott about the wet putty wave. She came through. It is like wet putty. So chalk is a super famous popular paint color for Porsche. Started in pearl gray and heron gray in the 50s and 60s. So Audi's Nardo, great, but it really started with pearl and heron back in, and it's funny because pearl gray does not have any pearl in it, is what I'm learning. Maybe 5 years ago, Porsche brought back the color for its modern 911. They called it chalk. It lacks any sort of flake or metallic sheen. Now the question from this LA Times article is like, why? There's a bunch of theories in the article. Number one theory, people who boost their rides or whatever, painted it with like a primer, and that would be without the flake. And then that, like, the car companies noticed that was like cool. I don't buy that, but like I have nothing to base this on. Number two is that like maybe pandemic influentialness meant that car companies wanted their cars to look more natural. Not earthy natural, but earthy high tech, explained to Nissan Design America lead color and trim designer Moira Hill, which is a job you can have. Now that is not Nard right there. That is a shiny ass whip. So, okay, let's continue on with the theories. So I ascribe some to this because there's like kind of like a tactical vibe to it too. Like this car looks a little bit like a cool ass stormtrooper ready for stormtroopering in the jungles. But this is what I like the most. See, I think car colors are super weird. I think that people want to pick a cool car color, but they also want to blend in. And the just hip enough theory aligns with my perspective on this. That you want a car that looks different, but you don't want a car that looks different all at the same time. This is exactly how I feel when I'm buying a car. I'm like, I don't want to just buy another like black or gray or white car. But then I look at the colors and I'm like, I also don't want to drive around in an orange car. And so you get the gray. But this way you get a gray that can stand out. And I think that there also might be an element of like, we want something a little bit less space age and a little bit more, contemporary. But here's what I really think. I think that that's part of it. But I think more than anything, what we do is that things go in waves and we move away from the past. If car colors had been for the last 25 years all nardy, then right now what would be happening is higher end cars like Porsche and Audi would have started to put some more flake in, and then we'd all be like, that looks so weird. What's happening? And I'd be making a video called Grigio Titanio that would be all about how Ferrari had started using metal flake in their car paint. Because this is the interesting thing to me. We are all wandering around with all of this cultural knowledge that we have no idea we have. That we can look at a car and be like, what the hell? Like, isn't that weird? That I looked at my car on the lot that was sitting there, that was a used car, so I didn't have a choice. So I was gonna buy that car. But I was like, this looks weird. And then my son, who like loved it. And so he's 7. The brighter the better, I think, for him. But I knew that it was weird without being able to articulate it as eloquently as the people at Blackbird Spyplane did with, all these putty ass looking whips. Sorry, I apologize. Putty looking ass whips. And it's also so interesting to me that there are certain colors for which this doesn't look weird. Like, I don't think it looks weird in red and yellow or orange, but I do think it looks weird the lighter you get and in blues and some in greens. So like cooler colors and lighter colors, it looks weird. Warmer colors and brighter colors, it doesn't. And that can't be something innate about humans. That's a piece of cultural knowledge that I have that I had no idea I had. And that allows for there to be a whole job like what the job that Moira has, and many people who work with Moira just at Nissan to try and figure out the right thing to do to move cars off a lot. Which that article was talking about how it, in fact, they got one company to in fact confirm that these putty looking ass whips did actually sell fast. And I have to say, I like the look, and it's super interesting to me that it started on high-end cars, but I got a car that costs, you know, $20-something thousand used. And now when I searched for Honda Civic to try and find a car that had a lot of flake in it, I found a bunch of Nardos. This is wild, and I love it. And we all know so much more than we think we know. We have all this information inside of us that we don't know that we have. Freaking weird. All right, let me know what you think about these putty looking ass whips, about Nardos, and whether you'd rather have the flake. As they say. Man, y'all, we know a lot more about car colors than we did 26 minutes ago. Well, less than that for you, because there's no way I'm uploading this unedited.